And it's quite a scary thing because obviously if you're going down the bridging routes, it can be quite problematic. A lot of issues can ensue.
I don't really think about that sort of thing when in that moment.
And this is a problem with us. We love too much, and then when you love too much, you end up overspending and it becomes an emotional decision.
Even when coming to try and sell the property, I didn't really want to sell it either. I mean, we didn't actually finish the property completely. Only the inside really, wasn't it?
So then we have a change up, and now we're doing our first year as Airbnb hosts.
Yes, mate.
In that last 5 year, what would you say that you've learned over that time, and what has been the biggest challenge for you?
Obviously, I was plastering, 10, 11 hours a day. I just thought if I get my head down and do it on my own and focus on myself, I can kind of make something happen.
We at a record number right now, we have people leaving the UK. More than ever, if this was to go well, would you consider this abroad?
100%. Me and you want to be completely involved,
Yeah.
and if not, doing the majority of the work.
Perhaps some controlling issues that we have to work on both internally.
100%.
We bought Upper Road in 2023, August. Remember that? Mm-hmm. I want to know everything from start to finish, basically. The chaos that ensued during that time. Right. I want to know everything. And I want to know, we've just finished our first year of being landlords effectively together.
Yeah.
And I want to know what your thoughts are of that. Obviously, the ups and downs, there have been quite a lot of ups and there have been quite a lot of downs. So when we went in there at the solicitors, we were doing the bridging refinance. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
2 summers ago. And it's quite a scary thing because obviously if you're going down the bridging routes, it can be quite problematic and a lot of issues can ensue.
To be honest with you, you know how I am when it comes to like stuff like that. So I don't really think about that sort of thing when in that moment. So
You don't think about
No, like even though it's quite a serious thing, I don't really deep it until it happens.
So you sign, then you get the keys, then you think
That's my point. Once we actually got the keys, that's when it kind of hit me. And I was like, now we've got to get started. Because if you remember from day one, I was on it. It wasn't until the initial day of getting the keys where I thought, this is actually real.
So we bought a 265. How much did we spend on the refurb? Do you remember? Do you recall?
Was it 130?
Around there, everything included. And then, do you remember what our original budget was?
Yeah, 30.
30 on the refurb itself. That's right. And we ended up spending 80 grand on the refurb alone.
Yeah, but I think we were obviously a little bit misled and by the things that were said to us. And obviously when I went in there and I looked at the actual project itself, I was like, this is never going to be done for 30k. And they were still saying, this will be done for 30k. I was like, no.
A lot of the valuations, and I experienced this in finance, a lot of the valuations pre-refurb, even if you put we had a 20% contingency, it wasn't enough. Obviously, clearly, we were so far over. And then we ended up loving the property probably far more than we should have done. And this is a problem with us. It's like we love too much. And then when you love too much, you end up overspending. It becomes an emotional decision. It becomes quite subjective.
It was even when coming to try and sell the property, I didn't really want to sell it either.
This is the thing. When you love too hard, it becomes a problem. Having said that, we got through it, mainly by you there most days.
I mean, we didn't actually finish the property completely. Only the inside really, wasn't it? And the external of the actual bungalow itself. But we didn't actually finish the gardens and the fencing and things
Probably
like that.
not to the standard that we wanted to have it. The landscaping wasn't done, but it was in a sellable position, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you think that affected the value?
I think, staging is a profession that estate agents consider. So yeah, I think the landscaping, I think the back garden will definitely have an effect.
What about once it's done?
I think they will, well, it depends on the standard we finish it at. But obviously it's going to be quite a good standard. So we've done the refurb, started at 265, spent the refurb cash, and then we got the properties for 440,000. We then refinanced, pulled out as much equity as we could at the time. And then we effectively just put a tenant in there for a year, right? So we reconvened. Now that's where it gets tasty, right? Because where we love the property so much, wouldn't you say that putting a tenant in there was the only option that we had at the time, right?
I would, but I would also say it was a very uncomfortable position to be in because I didn't really want to do that. I loved the property too much to allow anybody to mess it up. That was my issue.
So being a long-term landlord is not for you?
I don't think so.
What if it was relatively passive? Because to be fair, it has been majority passive, hasn't it? The return that we've seen in that 1 year period of being a landlord.
Within the 1 year period, we probably spent half of the money that we got as the deposit and stuff anyway.
Yeah, fair.
So with, fixing the minor issues that have arisen, like doing the roof, trying to fix that door, putting a new fence up, stones, stuff like that, we spent quite a little money on the first 4 months of the tenant living there. So, I mean, if you weighed it up, there's not really much money to be made in rent anyway.
It doesn't become very tax efficient if it's in your personal name, that's for sure. However, if you refinance on a 2% or 3% deal and say on a 400k loan, a 300k loan, a 2% deal is probably going to be around, you're going to obviously have some insurance fees, etc.
Yeah.
£700-800, but obviously the first 2 years of being a landlord isn't going to be the best, I don't think, especially with the rates they are at the moment. I mean, right now the base rate's 4.25.
Like, I won't disclose what we're making on the property per month, but it's not enough.
So then we have a change up, and now we're doing our first year as Airbnb hosts.
Yes, mate.
Obviously, we haven't got the keys back yet. So when we get the keys back, we're going to go down to the property, take a look, do a recce, see if there is any damage, and then a mini refurb.
I think, obviously, I'm hoping that there's not as much to do as I think there is.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, about some minor issues that I already know that I need to rectify before I get there.
Yeah.
But if there's anything else, then obviously it means the minor renovation's going to take a little bit longer than we expect.
Budget for refurb, what are you expecting?
I mean, we've got to fully furnish the place. We have the garden to finish off to a better standard. We've got hot tubs and stuff coming.
Yep.
So I'm thinking between 15 and 20 grand to completely refurbish the property to the standard that we want it at.
Yep.
So, and obviously we want our expectations to be high because everything that we do, we put our heart into as if it was our own.
We're going to do the Airbnb refurb effectively. Neither of us have ever done it before. So we're going to try and crack this out.
Yeah.
Get the hot tub in there. What are you saying, cold plunge?
Cold plunge, outdoor shower,
Hot tub, cold plunge, sauna at some point.
outdoor barbecue, nice little areas, pergola, all that sort of stuff.
So I'm going to anticipate probably about 20k refurb.
I think so.
So £20,000 on a refurb we're going to spend, and then we're going to get it ready for Airbnb launch, and then we're going to come and review this after a year and see how we get on. And you know, I know we can pre-vet them on Airbnb and stuff like that on booking.com, but what if they end up trashing the gaff?
I think it's easier to manage. I think, like, if you have somebody in there for 3 days,
Yeah.
you can pop down there after 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a tenant in there and you're only doing 6-month checkups, 9 times out of 10, a tenant isn't going to want you to go in the property continuously. We can have a lot more control of it. And if any damage does arise, I'm pretty sure that we would have taken a deposit or something,
Yeah.
you know, to cover us.
So Airbnb has a policy in place called Air Cover, I believe, and hopefully we're going to find out, I guess. But from all the forums that I've read, they're pretty hot on it, so we're going to see how that goes.
Good.
So let's move on to the next one. So you've been involved in the business since 2019. There are times where early doors, I always say great businesses are run by great people, and you know I've said this to you many, many times.
Yeah.
And I truly believe if you could name any business, any hardworking business or any business, you make things what they are by the people that are involved.
Yeah.
And great people run great businesses. So in order to match that mark, and I believe Tanshak is a great business, in order to match that mark, you have to become a great person. So you've had this trajectory from being a tradesman to being a business person in the space of 5 years. You definitely reveled in that, and that was definitely something that I highlighted certain areas, I believe, but I didn't push you through the door. You walked through them. You smashed through these doors and these levels yourself, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're what I consider a great person.
I appreciate that.
And that must manifest itself into being a great business because, you know, great businesses are run by great people. So in that last 5-year kind of experience, what would you say that you've learned over that time, and what has been the biggest challenge for you? Because there's been quite a few challenges during that time.
I mean, obviously I was plastering, 10, 11 hours a day. That's where I initially met you. You called me up. He's like, mate, I need a plasterer. I was like, you know, I'll come on down and have a look. And then from there, done your property. In regards to, but I never really wanted to be on the tools every day. It was really hard work. Probably pulled my back about 10 times. It was not an easy trade to be in. And then obviously when I met you, you gave me an opportunity to get involved in something that was less strenuous on the body. And as soon as you made me the offer, obviously, I found it very difficult to trust people anyway. I was just doing things on my own, and I never had anybody else around me to, you know, do business with anyway. I just thought if I get my head down and do it on my own and focus on myself, then I can kind of make something happen.
Yeah.
You then made me this offer. You was like, mate, do you want to jump into Tanshak? We made a decision to take it on together.
Off the back of a handshake, guys.
Yeah, it was.
That's how real man. That's how real men deal stuff.
It was, and we both said that we'd never part or we'd never leave each other. And here we are, 6 years on, still doing the same thing and still planning on going in other directions. But as soon as you made me that offer, where I snapped your hand off. I think it was during COVID, wasn't it?
During COVID, yeah.
And we only had a certain amount of months or weeks to get renovated. So we did a partial renovation. We didn't spend a lot on it because obviously during COVID everyone was a bit tight for cash. We did the best we could and we managed to get it off the ground and get moving with that. And then obviously from there we've gradually been able to open more and more stores. But it's been a lot of hard work involved in it.
We had too many clients, not enough beds, not enough stores, right? So obviously we've gone, Tanjak Chalmers we got involved in, and then we jumped over to Ferndown, 50-50 shareholding in the project as a whole, as we are with most things that we do. We launched Ferndown. I said to you maturity would be a 2-year period, right? Remember that? It was 6 months, wasn't it? That's how long maturity kind of goes.
I think I was a bit enthusiastic. Well, I always am with every project that we do. I always think this will work, and it did. And I think the majority of projects that we've done together have worked because we believe they'll work.
Yeah, I agree. I consider maturity being in a position where you're hitting break even for the month about halfway through, or maybe 3 weeks in. So to do that in 6 months off the back of an already very strong brand was a great position. We did this about a year in, didn't we? Then we launched Tanjak Moordown this year. And that was effectively a way of allowing and giving the most value to our clients, because the wait time at Chalmers was too long. The wait was too long and there wasn't enough frame. We weren't maxing out the store, right? So what I thought was, we both thought at the time, let's open Moordown, which is literally 1 mile across one road over from Chalmers to Moordown, but it allows clients to have the free range from going to the Chalmers store or going to the Moordown store or going to the Ferndown store, offering them a web of structure in terms of which store they would like to go to, which clients are their favorite, which beds their favorite, etc., etc. So we launched Moordown. Things have gone great, would you say?
Unbelievable. I never thought it would have started as strong as it has. The plan to make it less strenuous on Bournemouth and break that weight.
That's right. Allowing Chalmers there to have the breathing space that it needs, so we can get a refurb in there, renegotiate the lease, come back around and do a refurb at Chalmers there. So that way the clients are always serviced. They always have space to go to. But in doing Moordown and in doing Chalmers and in doing Ferndown during this time, it's definitely become apparent that there is a clientele. Tanjak is a strong brand. It's been around for over a decade now, decade and a half now. So we want to find a 4th store, would you say?
We do. Location's very important for us as well. You know, finding the correct location.
I guess it kind of comes down to finding the right location, getting the right team ahead, and we'll obviously touch base with you guys, let everyone know that's what's going on. Tanjak itself is a community-based brand. It always has been, always will be. What that effectively means is that you guys determine the direction of our business. So we don't get a choice in what we're doing. You get the choice and you tell us what you want. So looking at our data, some of the postcodes that are kind of synonymous with us at the moment, some of the Southbourne areas, any other areas that you think's hot at the moment?
I mean,
Christchurch, Southbourne?
Yeah, in and around those areas, I think.
Okay, fine. So we're looking for a 4th store, and we're looking to continue to expand the project. Price increases, what are you saying? That's the big one.
Yeah, as majority of people will know that we've not really put our prices up. We were still one of the cheapest, or if not the cheapest in town at the time. And we did 1 price increase in the last 5 years I've been involved. So when was that?
That was 2 years ago.
I don't think we went up by much. I think, you know,
a few quid, yeah.
Yeah, a few quid. But obviously running costs and stuff now are really, really difficult. We have more stores, more beds, more clientele. Yeah, we're getting busier and busier by the month. So
it's really a case of our staff. Like, we want to be able to provide staff. I mean, they're the backbone of our entire business, and a good position. We want to be able to give them bonus. We want to be able to give them time off. We want to be able to give them holiday, maternity, etc. We want to be able to pay them appropriately. So in order to do that, with the rising cost of inflation, etc., and everything that's going on with the UK economically, and the government's decision to be a little bit more strenuous on business owners and small businesses like ours, a slight incremental increase would probably be the only way in which we can make sure that our clients and our staff are all being taken care of appropriately. That's really the only way. Really a for-profit business. It's more of a business that's community-based. So if you guys are happy, we're happy. I say that to everyone who come in. You can come and see me at Moordown. I think you're based at Ferndown at the moment. You coming back over to Moordown?
I will be.
You guys determine the direction of our business. So as long as you guys are happy, we're happy. You might want to give a quick brief on that on when it comes to Southwest.
So basically, where Southwest has come from is I had a plastering business for about 8 years, and I wanted to try and dip my toe into different avenues to try and find another way of income and potentially giving people a level of service that I've been given in plastering in other areas of building. And I thought I could do that. And so what I did is I was working with another guy called Lewis. We kind of teamed up. I thought I'll set Southwest up. And what we've done is created a business that you can come to and get every single trade under one roof.
So with the Airbnb, is it going to be a party house? I don't get it. Because we spoke about the R&R situation. We spoke about people coming to have some kind of therapeutic rehabilitation with the sauna, with the cold plunge, etc. That's huge at the moment. Airbnb, but it's a rehab facility.
This is what we kind of did.
I don't mean rehab Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean like rest and recuperation. Dan, appreciate that.
Thank you. This is what we kind of do. We try and cover for everybody.
Yeah.
So we don't want to like neglect anyone away from what we do. So we try and open up the dynamic for everything. So I think trying to make it more like a retreat type relaxation place type party house or whatever it's going to be, so that it's open for everyone. You know, if it doesn't matter what age comes there, it's open to everyone. That's what we want.
So we have off-road parking, 3-bedroom property.
Yeah.
We have sauna coming soon. Then we have the cold plunge.
Master bedroom ensuite.
Master bedroom ensuite, of course. You're saying it is for everyone. So if you're wanting to have, you know, a weekend out of the game, maybe you're a working individual and, you know, you do enjoy sauna, you do enjoy cold plunge, you are somebody that works out, or maybe it's a family that want to have some fun in the hot tub.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, my suggestion is we run this for a year. We circumvent, we come back around, because obviously if this is a project that we enjoy being Airbnb hosts effectively that have several amenities, I check the data, there's not many properties in that kind of area with that kind of spec with a hot tub, definitely not with a cold plunge. So you have those on the outdoor shower too, you have those kinds of options. But you know, we've obviously discussed how much we love the property ourselves, and having people come to the property may have an issue if there's, but I guess that's what the insurance for is, right? But where does that leave you long term? Is this something that you do enjoy, you want to roll out? Where's your...
Well, I think that's the reason why we're kind of testing the water with it. It's something that we've never done before.
Yeah.
But I feel like we could make work. We don't really ever do these things and not put 100% into it. We would at least try and find a way to make it work anyway.
What's your overall earnings? Our overheads are going to be big. We don't know where we're going to be at. What would you be happy with?
I mean, to start with, and I'll be generally honest, I'll be happy to break even on it.
For how long?
Even if it was a 6-month period or whatever, I'm happy to break even on it, you know, get the mortgage covered or whatever, and try and sort them out. You know, that's what I'd be happy with doing, because you'd have a bit of breathing space and probably not have to dip your own pocket to pay for it.
Okay, fair. We, at a record number right now, we have people leaving the UK. More than ever. I was looking at some of the numbers the other day. We're talking about immigration being an issue in the UK, you know, illegal immigration, people crossing. It seems as though we have not the best individuals, undocumented individuals coming into the UK, and the highest tax rate payers leaving the UK. You know, we both have children.
Yeah.
If this was to go well, would you consider this abroad?
100%.
What kind of areas?
I think we've kind of like sort of stepped foot on this a little bit anyway. But if this is kind of like us testing the water anyway. So if this does work for us, then we'd start researching other areas. You say we've already spoke about Spain and doing something over there. But I think this
Spain, UAE.
Yeah, this is our initial tester.
Okay, yeah, we like to put our money where our mouth is. I guess. So we're going to find out.
100%.
But I mean, we both have daughters. You have two. I have two. Could you see yourself being an Airbnb host as a business long term, multiple locations? Is that something that you would want to? I mean, if there's a problem, you have to fly out, leave your family. What's your kind of view?
I feel like I would prefer to do multiple Airbnbs than have multiple rentals. I'd rather treat it more like a business.
Fair. So you made a decision. Having an AST tenant, having a general tenant is not for you.
Not for me.
Fair.
It's not for me.
Fair.
I also like to be in a bit of deep water, so I always like to have a bit of, you know, something to do. You know, I'd prefer to be busy with it than completely sit back and do nothing. That's just how I am.
So you're willing to forego peace for making more money?
We do that, and it could be Tan Shack, a building company, an Airbnb. Me and you want to be completely involved, and if not, doing the majority of the work.
Perhaps some controlling issues that we have to work on both internally. 100%. Okay, so we've discussed that, and obviously, you know, there's been multiple refurbs that we've done privately ourselves, multiple refurbs that you've done for your clients with the RV project that you've since sold. That's kind of manifested and transformed into this new project, which is Southwest Contractor Group. And the general idea about that, you're finding the clients, then you're brokering this situation. You know, you are a tradesman, you come from that background, and the client who wants a top level, because we're adding value to properties, which we've done ourselves personally and on our portfolio, for example. We've been involved in this sector. You've been involved in the sector for how long? Would you say 15 years? I guess since you're a kid, right?
10 years it would be.
10 years. I've been involved in the sector for 10 years also, since I was in my early 20s. Having a different perspective, you've been more of a tradesman, and now you've had this accumulation of all this kind of experience. It would seem a little bit a shame to let it go to waste.
Yeah.
Hence the Southwest Contractor Group project as a whole. So RV is no more, and now you're on this Southwest Contractor Group situation, right?
Yeah.
So RV you've since sold to Lewis.
I did, yeah.
When did you do that?
I think I sold it just over a year ago now.
And you gave birth to the Southwest Contractor Group project. So you've been doing that for 6 months now. And your overall mission statement with that, your long-term goal with that project?
So I initially came into it because I wanted to give clients somebody they could completely trust.
Nice.
To do the job.
Because there's a lot of cowboys out there, right?
100%. And somebody who could come in, oversee, build a good relationship with the client and, you know, be happy to part with the cash that they're paying, because obviously doing landscape from cost suite materials and stuff like that.
Agreed.
Imagine giving that to a guy who hasn't got a clue what he's doing and potentially walking off the job or not giving them the level of standards that they expect.
That's the thing. Dealing with so many, from a finance background, dealing with so many clients that have had this issue where they've paid money and the tradesmen haven't come, they haven't done the job. It creates a lot of issues. And obviously you're solving that.
That actually happened to me a few times. I've gone to quote a job. They've said to me, XYZ, we've gone a guy that's come to look at the job that is a lot cheaper than you.
Yeah,
or something like that. And I was, well, cheap's not always the best. We know that ourselves.
Yeah, we found that out.
This guy's come in. He's done a complete mess up of the job. Yeah. She's called me back a week later saying, "Oh, hi Ryan, can you come and rectify some issues?"
It's probably you pay cheap, you pay twice.
100%.
And you know, you really put the cash in and you make the commitment. You end up in some cases what you end up spending, you get back on the back end on a valuation anyway. So £80,000.
You're trying to make me not spend there, innit?
Yeah, because it's expensive, bro. It's too much money. You know what I mean?
You were saying to me, right, mate, we got to put the cheaper tile in there. I was like,
okay, I like a deal. There's nothing wrong with that. The doors that we put in were the most expensive doors we get. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, we should have got a B&Q, spent 30, 40, 50, but you wanted to buy the big boy Howdens.
Same as the tiles, same as the showers. Everything that we done was as top spec as it could possibly be. And that I'm very much like that. And they'll be able to see that through the majority of, you know, the shacks and stuff that I've done. You can see that I have an eye for detail and pretty expensive taste, that I like things to look good and I want it to look good for everybody around me.
Originally, you know, if you look at it from a commercial business perspective, obviously you want to make the most amount of net on the back end. Of course you do, everybody wants to, but the reality of it is if you put in the right people at the right time at the right place, you spend the right amount of money, like I said, you end up earning just as much on the back end of the valuation as you did spend in some cases. Yeah. We've spent £40,000, £50,000 on an extension, and the valuation on the back end of that has been added an extra £60,000 or £70,000. Yeah. So it's such a learning curve for me specifically over the last 5 years, from after having, you know, teamed up with you, about learning about these kind of these different avenues and these different sectors of where you can spend money. Like for example, a new kitchen adds around 10 to 15% value on a property on average. It's something that you can take into consideration when kind of budgeting for your refurb.
I think this is also a problem when coming to sell a job. I don't think people actually understand the value it adds to a home. I think they just get it done because they want to get it done.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually understand that they're actually adding that much value, or if not more, to the property.
Yeah. So it's almost like you're spending the money.
It is very important because in the UK, we know we all like nice things and we all want our bathroom to be, you know, the best it can possibly be. You know, if I come into that property and it's been done badly, that would potentially turn me away from buying it.
Yeah, of course. Quality is important.
It is very important.